Greetings, fellow warriors. Today what we're going to be looking at is the grab and stab, or as I like to refer to it, the assassination style knife attack. What it's going to look like: he grabs you up, he stabs the crap out of you. Now, when I read this comment and this request for this video, I was extremely pleased. Kimmit had asked me if I could do something regarding the prison style grab and stab knife attack. Now, generally speaking, when you see a knife attack, a real true knife attack, it's not gonna look like this. It's not gonna look even like this necessarily. It's more gonna look like he grabs you up, he stabs you in the gut and in the side and in the face and in the throat and all over the body like 24 freaking times, and you drop to the ground, and that's that. It's extremely difficult to stop this. Now, before I go into actual methods and tactics and procedures to go ahead and deal with this, I want to go into the psychology of it a little bit first. Now, when I say the psychology of it, firstly, what I'm talking about is how to avoid this in the first place, because one of the first things we talk about with reality-based self-preservation is there is really no true defense against an all-out assassination. If someone really wants to assassinate you, which is kind of this methodology of thinking, they're gonna do it, unless you have situational awareness. So when it comes to this, we're going to be talking about the OODA loop, which for those of you who don't know, the OODA loop stands for observe, orient, decide, act. Now, this was come up with by a fella named Colonel John Boyd, and he actually developed it. He was an Air Force guy. He looked at a bunch of dog fights, like, you know, airplane dog fights, bzz, 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 and he kind of saw the way that these went down and the way that they were successful and whatnot, and he put together a whole thing called the OODA loop. Basically, what the concept is you observe something, you are able to orient on it, in this case the knife threat. So I observe the knife, I'm able to orient my attention that this is a knife attack, then I'm going to be able to decide what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to act. Am I going to block the elbow? Am I going to do whatever? Am I going to grab a chair and throw it at him? So something like that, right? So basically what we can think of it as is like a big circle around us. We call that our OODA loop. And if the guy's too close inside that circle, we don't have enough time to observe, orient on that threat, decide what we're going to do, and then act. I talk about this a lot when it comes to driving. Like, the faster you're going, and the closer you are to a vehicle in front of you, the less and less and less time you have to react if you happen to see brake lights come on real fast. It's like a 3-second reactionary gap, 2 seconds, 1 second. It gets shorter the closer you are to somebody and the faster that you are going. It's the same basic principle here. If he's 2 feet in front of me and all of a sudden he reaches back and a knife comes out, I don't have very much time at all. Maybe I have a second, combined with the seeing this and coming out. Maybe I have a second and a half. Maybe I have 2 seconds, right? So the closer I am to him, the less and less time I'm gonna have to observe that threat, orient that yes, that is a threat, decide what am I going to do about that, and react, or act in that case. Now, this is easier said than done, keeping people always, you know, at least an arm's length away. I realize that's not always possible. Now, something you got to think about, like, what's the situation? Because the situation always dictates the tactics, right? So, if I need to keep somebody an arm's length away at all times, maybe I'm legitimately concerned that there could be assassination threat against me. Well, number one, don't go into the city, or don't be in a situation, if you can avoid it, where you're concerned someone's, you know, out to get you and you're around a lot of people. That's a bad idea. Maybe you at that point should start thinking about some kind of protection detail, or some kind of, for yourself, some kind of protection plan where, you know, maybe you don't go out much at that point. But if you're just concerned about, you know, for self-defense, maybe this is actually like a prison situation, right? Where you're in freaking the pen or whatever, and you're forced to be around a lot of people. Now, that would suck, but there's ways that we can deal with that as well. So I told you we're going to go into the psychology of this here, and this is exactly what I mean. So when you're looking at people, generally what we're going to see when this type of attack happens is a couple of things. Now, number one, the guy's more than likely especially in like a prison situation here. He's not gonna all of a sudden just pick you randomly and say, I wanna kill this guy, bah. More than likely what's gonna be happening is it is some kind of targeted situation. He knows that he wants to get you, especially if it is in the pen or something. He's had to either fashion or acquire some type of weapon. It's taken him a little bit of time to kind of put this plan together that he's gonna grab you and stab you. So generally speaking, that's not always the case, but generally speaking. So what we're gonna see when he decides to go ahead and do this is a couple of things. Number one, the eyes. You can tell somebody's kind of motivations and thoughts through their eyes. Now, when I say that, I mean target fixation. Target fixation is a really big thing. We talked a lot about it in executive protection because, like, so you'll see someone and they want to assassinate somebody. They're not in their right mind, obviously. They're, number one, their breathing's going to be, generally speaking, elevated. They're going to get target fixation. So if you're the target there and I'm a would-be assassin, and especially if I'm not a very well-trained would-be assassin, if you have a well-trained assassin coming after you, you've got bigger problems than I can really help you with. But let's say I'm a street dog or I'm whatever, and this is the pen, or even this is the street. I know I want to get you. So you're going to see me coming if you have your situational awareness up and running. Maybe I'm over here, and I'm going to be extremely fixated on you. I might not be able to really even tell what's going on to the left and to the right of me because I am so fixated on this situation. I've kind of hyped myself up. I'm saying to myself, excuse me, I'm going to stab the hell out of this guy. Screw this guy. I want this guy done. I'm going to get him. Maybe the night before in my bunk I was thinking about all night, I'm going to get this guy, dude. Like, when I see him in the morning, I'm going to freaking just stab the crap out of this guy. I've got my weapon ready to go, and I'm hyping myself up about it. So, I'm going to be totally tunnel vision here, fixated. Maybe I've got that weapon kind of behind my leg, behind my ass. Maybe I've got it, you know, stashed in my waist. So in either case, I've got to go ahead and access it at some point, which adds extra steps in there for you to decide and, you know, choose what action you're going to take. So target fixation's a big thing. You're going to kind of vibe with that. You're going to sense it. You're going to see it. If you have your situational awareness up and running, if you're thinking about your OODA loop. Now, if this wasn't the prison, same thing. I still have to access that weapon. I can't walk down the street with a knife in my hand, open and ready to go. I mean, I guess I could. Rarely do you really see that. Generally, what you're going to see is they're hiding it and they're concealing it, and then at some point they have to access that. Generally, they're going to access it, you know, within a couple of feet of you. They don't want to have a lot of attention brought to them. Nobody wants to get caught. Sometimes it is the type of thing where they don't care if they get caught in prison. They're probably, you know, they're definitely expecting that they're going to get caught. They know it's going to, generally speaking, they know it's going to be the type of thing where they're going to get, you know, punished for it or whatever, but they just don't care. So generally speaking, though, they don't want to have their party spoiled before they get to it. So they're going to conceal it, which is nice. It adds an extra step, an extra second or two for you to decide and act. So it's going to look like I'm totally fixated, I'm totally fixated, I'm totally fixated, I'm totally fixated on you. I'm fucking staring at you. Pardon my language. I'm trying to make a point. I'm freaking staring at you. I've got those crazy looking eyes. You know I've got kind of tunnel vision. My energy is directed at you. You feel it. You can sense it. Now, I hate to get all esoteric on you, but this is absolutely the case. To bring it back to ninjutsu or whatever, like, you absolutely have a force field, so to speak. And when somebody's concentrating all of their energy on your force field, so to speak, your spider senses are definitely going to be tingling. Now, the more and more you train this stuff, the better and better that force field is going to be at detecting potential threats. But I don't care who you are, all the time you're going to be able to sense if someone's looking at you. Have you ever had that happen to you? Maybe you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you glance over your shoulder. Maybe there's a cute girl looking at you, right? That happens to me a lot, actually. Maybe it's the type of thing also, like, you're pulled up at a red light, right? You're kind of chilling, you're vibing with your music, you're not really paying attention, and all of a sudden you glance over your shoulder and there's a guy looking at you, right? Pulled up right next to you, window to window. that's just the way it goes. That's basically your inner voice, your subconscious telling you, hey, there's someone looking at me, let's make eye contact, let's figure out what they want. And that's really important to be able to have that inner stillness, so to speak, to be able to understand, like, hey, well, there's someone looking at me, what's going on here? And you could either bring it to an esoteric level and say, you know, it's your inner voice, or you could simply say it's your subconscious. Your subconscious is basically, like, all the time analyzing little bits of information that you don't even consciously think about. It's telling you, hey, I need to pay attention over here, and it happens in microseconds that you don't even really realize, but when it comes to the point where you need to realize it, that's just what happens. So you can bring it to an esoteric level, you can bring it to a scientific level. Either way, it's the way it is. So situational awareness is like the biggest thing that we're going to be talking about here when it comes to avoiding this confrontation, this threat, or being able to successfully deal with this threat. Because if someone comes and they're going to do this, it's really the type of thing you've got seconds at the most to react. So we are going to go ahead in a second here and bring B-Bait in, and he's going to demonstrate, and I'll demonstrate as well, how to kind of defuse, well, not defuse the situation, but to deal with this situation, because there are ways of doing it. But what I wanted to go ahead and talk about first was the psychological level. Target fixation, crazy eyes, you know, elevated breathing rate, nose breathing, stuff like that. These are all cues and signs that something's about to go down. I need to get some space away from this guy real fast so I can increase my OODA loop time, so I can increase my reactionary time, my reactionary gap, and be able to deal with this better. If this guy comes at me, I need to get the hell away from me, man, and get my hands out and decide, hey, what am I going to do about this real quick? So with all that in mind, we've talked about the OODA loop, the reactionary gap, we talked about target fixation, we've talked about kind of the psychology, and we've also briefly discussed, look, if you're really worried about this type of thing, you definitely need to be situationally aware and realize that there is no defense against an all-out assassination. Your best defense is space. So if I'm walking down the street and someone's coming at me, maybe I step to the side and give him an extra couple of feet, even if that means stepping out of my path of original, you know, progress as far as walking or whatever. I don't care about, you want to say, I'm not going to move for anybody, I'm a tough guy, and, you know, if he comes at me, I'll just deal with it. Okay, I get that totally, but it's, again, tactically not the smartest move, because if you're actually worried that this guy might have a knife somewhere hidden on him, and he might want to, you know, be an agent for somebody else and get you, well, you need to be freaking smart about what you're doing, bud. You need to be, all right, I'm going to move out of my way, so if this knife does come out all of a sudden, I can have that extra couple of seconds to grab it, react, you know, toss him, whatever I need to do. So there's a big difference between, you know, being a tough guy and being a smart guy. There's also a big difference between being an alive guy and being a freaking dead guy. So the toughest guy doesn't always win. Generally speaking, what we're going to see is the more experienced guy wins. And that's a big thing when it comes to dealing with knives specifically, is experience. But you can substitute experience with training. So that's what we're going to look at right now. I'm going to train you and give you some of the advice that I've gotten over the years from guys who have definitely been through this. And I'll also give you the advice on my behalf from things that I think that are really a good idea to do against this grab and stab prison style assault, which, again, generally speaking, knife attacks are going to look like this. Even if it's not the type of thing where he wants to assassinate you, if it's the type of thing where maybe you're talking to his girl and this guy's just nuts and he has a knife and he's pissed at life in general already and his life sucks and he doesn't care and he's just crazy, you know, he's not going to pull out the knife and say, let's knife fight. And, you know, he's not going to come at you like this. No, he's going to come, he's going to grab you up by your shirt, pin you up against the wall, just assassinate you, for lack of a better word. And it's not necessarily assassination, but it's just brute aggression and force, and he's going to use that knife and he's going to end you with it. Or at least he's going to take his revenge upon you and stab you in the gut a couple of times or whatever. Even if it's the type of thing where he grabs you up, pins you against that wall, shoves that knife in your throat, it's never going to be, generally speaking, and I always say this generally speaking because every situation is different, excuse me, But usually when it comes down to a knife assault, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be brutal, and with any assault on the street, or in a combat situation for that matter, it's never gonna be like you practice in the Krav Maga freaking studio. It's never gonna be, and he's coming at you and you can, you know, whoa, and sidestep. Yeah, that does happen. But it's more important to prepare for that type of all-out brute force and aggression, like the grab and stab. That's what it's gonna be more than likely. So, Kimmit, great question, bro. Let's get right into it. Let's take a look at how this is gonna go down and some variable and viable ways to deal with it. So we were talking about it's gonna look like a little more vicious than typically you're gonna find in your martial arts studio. Now, he's gonna get pissed off and viciously attack me. Hey, what I can start doing here is I really wanna control his elbow. Now, if you'll notice here, thanks B-Bait, his elbow's cocked and loaded and it's coming at me like this. One of the only chances I'm gonna really have here, because I'm surprised and because I have that reactionary gap going against me, I want to control that elbow. So he's going to come and my hand is going to go in his elbow. If you notice here, I'm taking kind of a thumb grip and I'm placing that in the crook of his elbow and I'm blocking out this arm. Now this is something that back in the day, my buddy who's had some experience with this prison style knife attack, he told me really what you want to do is control the elbow, and it's definitely the right piece of advice. So B-Bait comes again. Oh crap. And my arm immediately shoots out, locks out, and goes against the crook of his elbow right here. One more time, crap, boom, and I lock it out. Now, this isn't gonna really save me for long, but it's gonna do the trick for me long enough to get a plan of attack going, a plan of counterattack going. He comes, crap. From there, maybe I decide I'm gonna come in for a chin jab and start getting aggressive with him and going into him like that. I don't know if we could see that in the camera. I wasn't looking at it, so we'll do it one more time. He comes, oh crap, I lock it out. Maybe I shoot my fingers into his eyes up here, get him a little distracted, start rushing into him. Maybe I throw a tie clench on, and boom. Now if you'll notice here, my hand and my arm are still locked out, and it's still in the crook of his elbow there. Now he might decide to get aggressive, and if I wait too long, he might take his hand from here, place it on that knife, and switch hands. Then I'm screwed here and has to go into more of a close contact situation. But if you'll notice back here, he's still readily available to stab me the hell up. So I have to be quick about this. Now, when we're gonna talk about training this in the dojo or whatever for the street, what I really wanna see you guys doing is just this part. Boom. And that's it. I want you to just take it, do 20 reps, 30 reps, however many you can, 10 at a time, for a bunch of times. The more the better. Practice it, practice it. Crap. That's what I really want to see you doing and get your kind of muscle memory ready for this type of thing. So if he's a little more aggressive with it, boom, and I'm locking out and I'm here. Now after we go ahead and train those repetitions enough times, we can start taking care of the follow through. So, boom, boom, and I throw these fingers into his eyes. Even if I don't get his eyes, it's still going to take his mind for that microsecond off of what's going on with that knife. Again, oh crap, eyes, right? Maybe it's an open palm out here. Maybe it's a, you know, more of a palm towards the face, like a chin jab or something. Boom, boom, I get him. Then I get aggressive and I follow into him. Now, if I was to not be aggressive and try to like get away from him, what's he gonna do? He's gonna keep coming at me. And if he keeps coming at me, maybe it goes more into wrist control at that point. Maybe I do like we made a previous video, we lock out both our elbows, we come here, we try to sidestep him. You know, maybe we have him here, maybe it's a over break, or maybe if it's just a knee strike, or maybe it turns into like a makeshift razor armbar or a come along if you're doing the Fairburn thing. But those type of things, it's kind of a give or take, and it's kind of a maybe on the streets, right? You don't know if that's gonna be the case, or from the beginning again, boom, we come here. Maybe now we've decided we've been not aggressive enough and we have to come here, lock out these elbows, shoot ourselves off. Maybe we try to come here and he grabs that knife, right? He grabs it and then it becomes, oh crap, I have to use my OODA loop and observe it's here now. Decide I want to come here now, right? Orient and act. Now it's here. maybe one arm versus one arm. B-Bait's a lot stronger than I am. I lift a lot of weights, but this guy's a workhorse. Maybe he just powers through me, bah, and I'm done. So really, you have to be thinking about, you want to do this quick and aggressive. Aggression is what wins fights, always. So, boom. We've drilled it like this. Our reaction just happens. We're here, and we've got this crook of the arm. Boom, we come in, we follow through. Now we've got the knife out here, but unfortunately for me, go ahead and try to stab me. He still can. If he's really being honest about it, he can still stab me up. So, I have to be quick about it. Hey, boom, boom, boom. I take his mind off that. My hand now goes to the wrist. It follows down from the crook of the arm, slides down into that wrist. Now, if worse come to worse, boom, boom, boom. I've at least got the wrist, and I don't have up here still. If I have just up here still, the knife's wielding maniac's gonna get me. But I'm here now, and it's still gonna be a strength battle. So, I have to use the knee strikes, and I have to use chops, and I have to use eye gouges, stuff like that, to take his mind off the fact that he still has that knife. So, from the top, hey, boom, slides down to the wrist. Creates some pain compliance there. Now he doesn't realize that I'm about to do whatever technique I'm about to do. So this is kind of how I would recommend training it. More of the reactionary, oh crap, surprise type of thing. Hey, 1, again, 2nd rep, 2, 3rd rep, 3, 4th rep, 5th rep, and so on and so on. Make sure you're locking at that elbow. You get the crook there, and that's a very solid way of going and training for that type of attack. Now, if he were to go and try to stab me like 5 times in a row with that, right? He's not going to necessarily keep it there. He's going to pull back, and then he's going to change angles. And every time he changes angles, it makes me think, and you know, it's whoever has more of a better eye-hand coordination at that point. So it's important that when you train this, yeah, exactly. You train that immediate follow-through. Boom, boom, wrist, boom. And just realize again, also, when this happens, more than likely on the street, you're gonna get cut. But it's how badly are you gonna get cut? Another variable option that we can take care of here is keeping something in your pocket, right? Personally, when I'm walking around the city or whatever, I don't typically keep sand or dirt in my pocket. But if you were concerned, this is definitely a viable option. I know, Kilmet, you watched that last video about the sand in the face, so I just want to reiterate this real quick. He's coming, I'm standing, he's a real psychopath. Maybe I see him, maybe I don't. And he's close to me. Whoa! And I throw something in his face. And he runs away. Now, typically, he's not going to run away, but that is going to give you kind of that extra second or two to observe, decide, act, whatever, orient. So that is another option. Now, you can kind of experiment with that, whether it's sand, whether it's dirt, whether it's even grass. We'll kind of like give him that split second of like, what? That's another option. All right, so me and B-Bait were talking, and we were kind of going over the fact that a lot of the times the criminal or whoever this is going to use leverage against you. So he's going to grab me up, and he's going to pull me into that stab, which is a bad thing for me, but it can also work out to be a good thing for me. So if I have my wits about me, he grabs me up, maybe I see that at the last minute, and I shoot both these elbows out and lock them out. I want elbow lockout, maximum elbow lockout, so that when he does finally pull me in for that stab, I can brace myself, and it's going to become more of a struggle. So again, he's going to grab me, he's going to push me away, and then he's going to pull me in. I want to go ahead and get maximum elbow lockout here so that he has more of a difficult time. If I were here, my elbows were bent, it's going to be a vicious assassination. But if I'm able to, whoa, I feel that happening. As soon as I feel myself going back into him, I know the game. Whoa, and I shoot these all the way out and lock it out. Now from there, I don't know if you can see it. Let's come a little bit over here. Again, boom, whoa. Now from here, maybe I take my foot and I slam it into his shin. Maybe if I'm in a nice pair of boots, I can go ahead and start damaging his shin bones and whatever. It's not going to necessarily take him out of the fight, but it's gonna give me that split second of either pain compliance or at least like what happened down there, and then I can take care of him up here. So boom, boom, whoa, and then boom, I kick him, and then maybe I can start stepping off to the side here. And it becomes, you know, like we always talk about, a grappling match. From here, maybe you can go ahead, throw a back fist, get him down in the ribs, push him away, and then, you know, knee strikes in, something like that. So these are some options that we can go ahead and start utilizing when it comes to training for the street. So first option is the gut stab type of thing. And I go ahead and I come here. From there, it's kind of a typical follow through. Just make sure it's fast and aggressive, whether you come here and you start throwing palms or elbows, but just make sure that you transition down to the wrist. Or if it's the type of thing we were also talking about where it's the pull in, and you get those elbows and you lock them out, headbutts, you know, boom, knee strike, back fist, get his mind off of what he was originally intending on doing to you. Really the thing is meeting aggression with more aggression. So another, you know, situation we were talking about before is that whole knife to your throat, scumbag's crazy, he doesn't care, he's a jealous boyfriend or whatever. Maybe I'm talking, hey, you know, blah, 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 and out of nowhere, this guy comes.
Hey, that was my fucking girlfriend.
And I'm here, and I've got my back up against the wall, I'm all surprised, I'm stressed out. Now, typically in a stressful situation, you know, we talked about before in one of the videos, jamming the choke, right? A lot of people's instincts are, I want it off, I want it off, I want it off, which is actually a good instinct in this case. However, you're gonna see a lot of people, like in Krav Maga or whatever, maybe they'll come, they'll try to push it away, they'll blade themselves off, come from there, but that's not necessarily a good idea at all. In fact, me and B-Bait were talking before, and he was saying, look, if you try to do this, what are you gonna do? You're gonna, come and stab me in the leg, stab me in the, maybe I come here, you switch hands. It's such a viable situation, such a variable of situations that could freaking happen. But luckily for you, there is a very natural and simple thing that we can go ahead and think about doing here. He's got me up, boom. I'm gonna take both hands and I'm just gonna push it away. I'm just gonna push it away and use my weight, my body force against him. So, boom. And I'm gonna throw that knee strike. I'm gonna get that above his head. So centrifugally speaking, pardon me, I'm not a scientist, but I believe that's the terminology. Centrifugally speaking, this is up here. Now it's not here. I have leverage, he doesn't have as much. So, oh crap, I push it away, and in that case, the knife flew out because I'm super strong. But boom, don't do that, and I'll bring the police station a piece of trash and tell them they weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
So, boom, oh crap, I'm just gonna shoot that off here again. Notice I'm locked out. I've got maximum elbow lockout here. Even if this one's slightly bent, at least this one's doing its structural job, supporting this, bringing this away from me. And then from there, I'm not gonna bother trying to like disarm him or whatever yet. I'm gonna shoot this all the way up and rush into him. Now, from there, maybe, okay, boom. Hey. Oh crap, maybe from there, you know, boom, pain compliance, right? Maybe we can go into a technique where we bring him down like that. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Most times street stuff is a lot more simpler. Boom, we shoot it off here, boom, headbutt, boom, pa, 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 pa. And we just violently get aggressive with it. A lot of the times in the streets, you know, videos and whatnot, you're gonna see it's simple. It's not all of this double hand flashy, you know, wow, crap. It's this, it's simple. Whoa, pa, 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 pa. And you control them like that with pure aggression and rage. So that's a viable technique. How we could go ahead and train this. Hey, surprise, crap, push away. Again, second rep, push away. Third rep, push away. Now we've kind of got that flow going. Again, push away, push in. Again, push away, rush in. Now we've kind of got that momentum going. Again, push away, rush in, hit. Again, push away, rush in, hit, hit. Now we've got that momentum going. Push away, rush in, hit, hit. Maybe from there, again, fingertip to fingertip, pry it the hell out. If we need to, maybe we can do something like that. If not, get away from me, you're crazy. All right, so thanks for watching a little bit about that, Kilmit. I hope it gave you at least an idea or two of how you can start training for simple yet practical stuff for the street. I don't know if you were expecting a bunch of fancy disarms, but typically simple stuff is the best stuff. B-Bait's been through a lot. He definitely understands the science of fighting on very simplified level. Typically when we see a very simplified level, we're gonna see somebody who's very good at it. Now, I'm gonna ask him real quick if he has any advice for anyone out there, either dealing with threats of violence or knife or anything like that.
I would just say be safe and respectful to everybody so you're not in those situations to begin with, and live life the right way.
Spoken like a true pro. Honestly, if you're safe and you're respectful towards people, generally they're not going to start stabbing the crap out of you. Generally it takes a hostile action, or at least a very disrespectful action, to somebody to get to that level to want to hurt you in the first place. So if you use Sun Tzu or Bruce Lee's kind of motto is the ultimate way to win a fight is to not fight physically in the first place, you know, you can kind of prevent most of this stuff from happening. If you happen to be, you know, some type of situation where it is the thing you're wondering about, potential assassination or something like that, well, situational awareness, and then also try not to be around too many people. Definitely try to rethink your life if that's, you know, the way it's going. But, you know, be safe about your daily comings and goings. Be respectful towards your fellow human, and that's going to go a long ways to not put you in these situations in the first place. Because as you can see, yeah, we can train, you know, trapping that elbow. We can train pushing it away and going and getting aggressive. But 9 times out of 10, you know, when it comes down to it, you are going to get cut. And then maybe however many, 6 times out of 10 or whatever, you know, maybe you won't live to make it through that. It's kind of a crapshoot. It's kind of a gamble. Yeah, you can train and boom, 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 but all the training in the world doesn't mean you're going to be successful 100% of the time. So knife attacks are one of those things. You really have to be very, very, very careful about it and realize that more often than not, it's not going to turn out well. But with all that in mind, listen, guys, please remember that you are your first and last line of defense, and I appreciate you watching. We'll see you all in the next video.